Just to update you on the latest things I've been doing, and I'm redoing one of the piers. It's one of my first models. It's the 500s pier, all the way down past the air bridge. And it's this section here. You can't really see it yet, but I've actually got a corrugated normal map texture now instead of modelling, so this lower section was quite easy to do. Hardly any mesh, so that's a big improvement. Also, this pipe work is also just a cylinder with some smoothing. This is the big one. I need to sort the glass out, but this is also got a lot of normal mapping. So these vent areas is just one that I made myself. That shouldn't be there, but generally it's keeping to this normal map without any problem. Apart from this little error line that shouldn't be there. It's giving the impression of a 3D texture, and this area is like a little ridge which should look like it's, so that's come out really well. Not sure about the metal colour. I might change that, but it's a PBR metal texture. So if I look in the Blender file, this lower section, all I did was add an array and made up the lower section with this. This area, this tube area, was a bit more complicated because this has got this type of normal map, and also one of these. This is like a one line map to give an outwards looking appearance to these areas here. So what I tried to do was bake this texture. The trouble is it's got glass in it and normal maps, so when I tried to bake out the glass texture, it wasn't coming out as glass. I'm completely new to all this baking business. My first attempt didn't really go too well, but the main objective was to create this section, the end part, create something that I could use the array on to multiply. So if you look all the way down, if I extend it, it's 325 times, something like that. All the way down to the end. So that's done. The problem I've got is that when I export the model, it ends up being around about the same file size as the original older design. I do not know why. If I look at I called it Quebec, it's now 6.52 meg. Well, before it was about 6 meg, but I notice if I reduce this to 1, get rid of that, if I just export this model, the file size is about 3.5 megabyte. So I don't understand why this, if I bump it up to 300 and something, I don't understand why this simple mesh, there's not hardly anything to it. I don't know why it's bumping the file size up so much to over 6 meg, whereas if I reduce it to 1, it's 3.5 meg. But I've done a test run and there's no effect on performance, because literally the model is the same file size as before. I was just hoping to get a bit more of an efficient end result. So, but it looks good. It looks good, and the performance is no effect at all. There's no problems with performance. It's probably because I've been doing other things. This is now textured. A textured grid work instead of it's hard to match it up exactly. I might give it another go later. Just started to attempt to do this Hilton Hampton hotel. It's quite complicated, but it's a work in progress. I'll probably copy this pattern to all the other sides and add a bit more. It took absolutely ages to copy the design from a photo. All this. So, work in progress. Possibly need to move this building in a little bit more. Done a bit more work to the stand numbers. And the bridge has now returned to its usual textures. A little bit more detail here. I'm gonna add something here. If anybody knows what that is, let me know. Okay. Absolutely no problem with FPS. This is with OBS recording, and bit of a change when you resume the animations all around the airport, but this is pretty much the same as it's been since I've been doing the performance updates. Because I'm using OBS, I tend to pause the simulation. Normally get a bit more without OBS running. Added a little bit more. I was gonna do a complete redesign of this pier, but instead of wasting all my hard work on doing this, I've just tried to improve it slightly. So when I look at some of the photos on the Daily Mail aerial photos of Gatwick, it's a very good source of the airport. I'm not gonna try and replicate the exact number of tiles on the building. It's just, there's not much point in doing that. But what I have added is some of these like ventilation panels down here. I've tried to, the roughness map was really messed up, and it was because I had to do a UV unwrap. Every single panel was showing the roughness, which it was looked horrible in the shade. So now I've changed the roughness to a different map so that you're not getting so much of a PBR effect on these tiles, but it certainly looks okay. See, before I had the PBR would do this, you'd get more of a darker, it'd be darker in the shadow, but this is not as dark in shadow because I'm using a different roughness. So it's not really the same as before, but it's got a bit of reflection there, and you can see the ventilation easily, whereas in the shade previously all this was kind of hidden with all this really horrible roughness. I had to do a UV unwrap on the panels to add these normal maps, whereas before I didn't do a UV unwrap on these, so you weren't getting the roughness mapped out properly. But now I have to do a UV unwrap. My voice is going. Yeah, I have to do a UV unwrap in order to get these areas of interest. So that's why it's not quite as but it's showing pretty good. So it's looking a bit better. This roof area, I had difficulty recessing the roof down. Couldn't recess it down very easily, so I had to build something on top just to get the roof on. And another thing, my voice is going to improve. I've definitely done a better job in this area. This needs to be corrected. UV mapping, I've corrected. I'm going to put a stand plate for this stand to be here. I have improved this area. This is a tile PBR, which goes quite black in the shade. So that's looking better. Again, I need to go into there and correct this roof map and put some supports under here, probably giving the wall a bit of a PBR texture. It's very rough in the shade. Smoothed it as well. but in the sun it looks pretty good. If I was to scale the UV map anymore, you'll get repetition too much, so I don't like that. I don't like repeating the texture because it's so obvious. This isn't too bad. So even the wavy wall has got a bit of attention. I've added a bit of detail to these roofs. And instead of a horrible emissive texture, this is now glass with a little blender light underneath. And it's quite good. Whereas before I had a plain emissive texture that didn't look very good. So in the night time, doesn't look too bad. This texture and roughness looks pretty good. There's nothing horrible showing up. I think that's a good result on that side. This looks pretty good as well. I could put some lighting inside. It looks very nice. I think this texture is going to be a keeper for the moment. That needs to be dropped down. Need to drop that one down. It doesn't look too bad in there. Actually, it looks very good at night. I tried to do something with this roof area. I'm still working on it. Need to add a few things to that. That's it for now.